and welcome to MAT 103, Plane Trigonometry. I'm Corwin Stanford. I'm your instructor for this class. Today, this is the Module 0 intro. I'll email this and also list it in a module. Today I want to walk you through Blackboard and our course homework system or assignment system, my math lab, and also walk through the syllabus. So let's get this started. I'm at usm.blackboard.com and I'll go ahead and log in. I've got a bunch of classes. Let's see. There we are, Summer 2017 MAT 103 H002. So click on that and let this thing load up. Okay, so my default is to show the edit mode, which is a little different from yours. I'll turn that off. And hopefully, yeah, this will be what you see when you log in. I'll walk you through each of these sidebar items. Each of those first few is listed right here in the course home. They're just repeating each other. These links all go to the same place. So you can click on either one of them. So let's see, getting started, you can click here, read a little bit about me. A lot of times there are going to be multiple pages posted, and it won't let me show you all of them at once. I don't really like this view the way it's got set up, but it's what we have to work with. But if you click over here, there's a table of contents, and you can kind of see what's going to be there. You can skip around if you want to. So you see some general info. Gosh, I'm not sure I've updated this. Yeah, but just a little bit of info about these same sidebar items we're going to be going through. Disability assistance. This is listed in a bunch of places. It's here on your syllabus. If you've got a disability that qualifies under the Americans with Disabilities Act, you can contact our Office for Disability Accommodations, and all their contact info is here on your screen. And they will, actually I think now they're set up to just email me when that happens. We can get your accommodations accommodated. Okay, and then a message from the Dean of Students. So the course home, I'll go back there. So there was our getting started section. Again, same if we'd clicked it over here in the left corner. The big one we're going to talk about today is the syllabus and other course documents. And that has the syllabus and the schedule and all the other stuff you need to get started. So we'll click on that. Did I click on it? There we go. And there is all that info. And you should be able to see all that at once. You've got a copy of the syllabus, the schedule, and the test information document that talks about when your tests are due, how to register for a proctor, things like that. And then I'll link directly to that test proctoring information. So let's start with, actually I'm going to start with this schedule, just because it'll be a little bit faster to go through, and then we'll go through the syllabus. So here's the schedule. Okay, and you can download a copy of this or print it out. It should open right there in your browser. This is kind of our tentative outline. Mostly, let's see, the big thing, I think harmonic motion. I still haven't ever put that into the course, but I would like to. But anyway, for the most part, this should be pretty good. I'm pretty confident in these test dates as well. So let's just walk through this so you can see how to read it. On the left side, you see we've got modules listed. Module 0, which is the one that has this video in it. I'll also send you this video in an email so you can see it. And then Module 1, Module 2, etc. What you've got beside it, this is the date that this becomes available. So Module 1 becomes available today on June 5th. Today is the 5th, right? Yeah. Okay. So you see that Module 1 and Module 2 will become available today. So you can go ahead and start working on these topics. These sections should be good for both the 10th and the 11th edition of the textbook. The 11th edition is kind of a new upgrade. I don't have a paper copy of it, so when I reference things from the actual textbook, I'm using the 10th edition. Like I said, I don't think there's any real difference in the section numbering for those. Okay, so we will have, this week, we'll do Module 1 and Module 2, and Module 0, which is just this video. And then next week, I'll post the next two modules, 3 and 4, and we'll have 2 modules per week. The following week, we'll have a test, which is just on these first 4 blue modules, but then we'll also start on that next module. You can kind of see the breakdown here. The blue stuff's all in Test 1. The orange stuff is in Test 2. The green stuff will be on the final exam. Your final exam is comprehensive, so we'll also cover these. But these, they don't have a separate test. Okay, I used to have a lot more tests, but I know a lot of y'all work full-time, and it's hard to get time off work to come take a test, so I kind of consolidated that. So we have 2 regular tests and the final. Okay, and the general the general layout, these all should become available on a Monday. Like today, the 5th is a Monday, June 12th is a Monday. That's when I'll post these things, and they'll be the assignments. Any assignments associated with those will be due the following Sunday night. Okay, so there's the schedule. We'll see what else we have here. I'll also go through the testing document. Why not? Because again, it's kind of short. And this one gives me the option to open or save, so do what you feel. I'll just open it. Okay, so there are our 3 test dates, or 3 test start dates. Right, that's when they're available. I'll post them on Monday, and they'll be due that following Sunday. With the exception of the exam is scheduled for the Wednesday of exam week. There's not a lot of time. USM cut back our summer semesters by 2 weeks. So, and some of that came from exam week. So we've only got a couple days there. You'll have one module due the Sunday before exams. I'll most likely post your information for the exam so you can be ready to take it the next day or any time before the coming Wednesday. So, yeah, just to reiterate, I'll post like a study guide, and I'll post the test itself, and you can schedule time anytime between those dates, between the available date and the due date, in order to take it. So test 1 you'll have from June 9th to the 25th to take it. So you'll set up a time with USM's proctoring service, and you'll just take it sometime in that window. So if you're off campus, this is the website you'll go to, and they've got a lot of information on there about how to do it. There's a student responsibilities section they want you to read first. The big thing is they want you to give at least 3 working days to make arrangements. I would not wait until 3 days before the test, because things tend to go wrong. I would say you can do it as soon as it's posted. As soon as you could do it today. You could go ahead and contact them about setting up a proctor. From what I understand, you will find a proctor in your area, either at a university or a library, and then you will pass that information along to USM's proctoring service, and they'll coordinate, make sure that proctor has access to the test and things like that. Now, if you're on the Hattiesburg campus, not Gulf Coast. So I'm going to have to change this. I used to have someone on the Gulf Coast who could proctor, and I don't anymore. So Gulf Coast students, unfortunately, will have to go through the proctoring facilitator. So I'll correct this before y'all see it. I'll correct the copy that's in Blackboard so you can download it. Also, this date is not right. I just asked that if you are testing in Hattiesburg, I've got a facility here where you can test. You don't have to go through the LEC, USM's proctoring facilitators. You just come. It's right outside my office. I've got a computer lab, and I've got some proctors here. So just contact me by whatever that Monday is before exam. So not the 19th. So I would say Monday the 12th here. Monday, June 12th. Just so I can, just give me a call. I'll run you through really quickly, the hours we operate here, and what to do to go about testing in Hattiesburg. The tests itself are online in my math lab. You'll sign into Blackboard. Everything is done through Blackboard. All of our modules are posted, but also the links to your assignments are posted in Blackboard. But what they're linking to is this My Math Lab course. Okay. And the rest of this, I guess I'll go ahead and run through. Testing, all you'll have is blank scratch paper and a simple scientific calculator, and then not a graphing calculator, and then something to write with. You can't have any notes or textbooks. They're closed book tests. Can't have a cell phone. Can't use the internet. Can't use other access. You can't access other areas of My Math Lab or Blackboard. I don't see it listed here. Oh, there it is. Now, for some of the tests, I'll have a formula sheet embedded in the test, so you won't bring a formula sheet with you. When you sit down to take your test, it will appear within the test. If that makes sense. And finally, I'll post a pretty comprehensive study guide for each of those within Blackboard. Okay, so I'll reiterate that when it's closer to the test. Really go through those study guides. If you work the study guides, you'll do fine. If you don't, you won't. Okay. So that is good for. That should be good for that. Okay. And then finally the syllabus here. And you can download a copy. I've already got one pulled up. So we'll go through the syllabus. Okay. So there's me, Corwin Stanford. And you've got my office number and my cell number. You can call either of those, and you can text my cell. Normally I'm in my office from 9 to 5, unless I'm teaching, and I've got those times. I teach a lot this summer, Monday through Friday. So every day I'm teaching from 10:15 to 2:25. Wednesdays I'm taking a class from 3 to 5, so it's kind of rough. But in the afternoons and the mornings, if you have a quick question, you can call my office number, or you can just text me pretty much any time. Other ways to contact me, I've got a Skype account. If you like to use Skype, I like to use Skype. You can Skype me. If you're in Hattiesburg, you can always stop by my office. We're in the Math Zone. That's our building's name. I don't know why. Let's see, class meetings. And I'm probably going to repeat myself a lot during this. Everything is posted in Blackboard. We won't have like a set class meeting. I'll post everything. It should become available Monday afternoons or evenings, depending on how long it takes me. But I'll post videos, notes, and assignments Monday evening, we'll say. I may post a little bit earlier, but we're just going to say Monday evenings for now. Oh, I can even change it. Monday evenings. So if you're wondering where something is, and it's not Monday yet, that's probably why it's not posted. If it is Monday, if it's late Monday night and you haven't seen anything, just text me, call me, or shoot me an email. Emails are not my preferred method of communication, just because I get a ton of them. I did set up an email account just for y'all, cstan.mat103@gmail.com. Those go directly to my phone. I get notified. I know it's something I need to look at really quickly. These other ones, my @USM, I'll still answer these. It just may take me 24 hours or so, especially on the weekends. But again, I really prefer calls or texts, just because it's a little bit easier to communicate that way. There's one exception to that, but I'll get to that in a minute. Okay. So during the day, if you've got a quick question, give me a call. I love to talk, love to work with students, so go for it. At night, I know a lot of y'all are working, or I have other stuff going on in the day, so I try to keep my evenings pretty clear, at least Monday through Thursday, so you can always give me a call in the evenings, just not too late. I try to start winding down fairly early. If you're not sure, just text me first and see if I'm up, or say, hey, can I call? Okay. Prerequisites. You should have taken an algebra course, a college algebra course, and gotten a C or higher, or you got an ACT score of 24 or higher, which would allow you to enroll right in this. So this class is typically reserved for students in an online degree program, with some exceptions. I know we've got some others in here this semester. We got a really diverse group. I always like teaching this class because there are people from all over the world taking it. We have a lot of soldiers, so y'all, I've got some good, I think they're good. I try to include a few military examples because I got a lot of military students in this class. But it's always exciting. I always like to hear about what's going on in your part of the world. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Let's see, course description. That's just the catalog description. Okay, instructional strategies. There we go. Again, I'm going to repeat myself. You've heard this. I probably said this one or two times now. So everything's broken down into modules. We've got, I guess 14 modules, and we'll be doing 2 per week. Except for this week, we have module 0, module 1, and module 2. And that will have kind of a list of the assignments, any announcements I have, I'll put in there. And then there'll be a link to the video where I introduce the content, go through my notes on it. I'll also upload a copy of my notes each week. What I would suggest you do is Monday evenings, you check on this, download the notes, and then go through the video, go through my YouTube video, and fill out the notes. That's what I'm doing. I'm working through these things. And then you've got a link to your weekly My Math Lab assignments. And I'll talk about what's in those assignments in just a minute. Course communication, I've already read it. This is just a repeat of what's above. Mainly, we'll communicate, or I'll be communicating with you via these weekly videos. Early on in the semester, I tend to send a few emails out as well, but don't count on that. Typically, you just look for these every Monday. That's when they should be posted, unless something goes wrong, and then I'll email you. Okay. This is what I was going to say. Now, this is one way to email me that I really like. In my math lab, each question has a button that says "Ask my instructor," and you can click on that, and it will send me a link right to the problem you're working on. If you do that, you should also kind of call or text to let me know. Hey, I sent you this. Can we talk about it? There are all kinds of other tools as well. There's an example for each problem you can click on, and it will walk you through a similar example. But if you really want to talk to me, just do that, and that way I can see the problem you're working on. Okay, text and supplies. It's all listed on the USM's bookstore website, usm.barnesandnoblescollege.com, or BN College. You can find all your textbooks there. If you didn't know, it's a great tool, much nicer than the olden days when you had to carry all your syllabus to the bookstore. And there are a few ways to get this. You can get the access code, bundled with a textbook, or you can just buy the access code by itself. As long as either one of those will give you access to my math lab, and within my math lab there's a digital copy of the book. So you only need to buy one of these, either the access code or the access code bundled with the textbook. Now, I would say make sure your access code, if you're buying it especially from like a third-party seller, make sure that you're make sure it says My Math Lab and not My Labs Plus. Let's see. Let me see if I've got it here. Okay. So this is an older one, but this access kit says My Math Lab on it. And this one says My Math Lab Plus. Don't get this one. This Plus is for a different system. This is My Math Lab Plus, and the code won't work with ours. So make sure it says just My Math Lab, nothing about My Labs Plus. There are a few more of these. Let's see. Yeah, like this code says just My Math Lab Plus. Right. So again, don't use it. If it's got a plus in there, it's not going to work for our class. You've got to get the one that's just My Math Lab. My Math Lab, no plus on it. Okay. And finally, a calculator. You're going to want a calculator. I strongly recommend that one listed there, the TI-30X2S. And I don't have one with me, so I can't show you what it looks like. I gave my last one to a student, and they never gave it back. But it's a great one. That's the one I use in the videos, so you can see what I'm doing. You can input it the same way I do. It's a fantastic calculator. They're $10, $15. I got mine at the dollar store for $5. I got a knockoff version, but that's what I would get. Okay. Let's see what else we have. Class participation. This one sounds a little cruel, I guess. I don't know. It sounds a little more strict than I am. But the idea is you should be working on this stuff actively throughout the week. Really, all this paragraph means is you can't wait till the due date to start this stuff every week. I started putting this paragraph in there because for a while, my first couple of semesters teaching this class, I would get 50 people calling me on Sunday night to walk through, to ask me a bunch of questions. All I'm trying to say here is please don't wait until the last day to do this. If it's something that every week it's an issue, I may tell you we're gonna have to schedule a time earlier on in the week. I can't meet every Sunday with 50 people. But anyway, it hasn't been a big deal since I started putting this paragraph in here and kind of addressing it. All I want to say here is please don't wait to the last minute. Sometimes my math lab goes down, and I can't. We don't have a lot of time. There's not a lot of time to extend all these due dates, and it's really troublesome when I have to respond to 50 individual emails saying, I can't extend it, or I can extend it. I just have to do it 50 times. Anyway, just please don't wait till the last minute. I know it happens sometimes. Just try to avoid it. Okay. All right. Now, finally, how are you going to be evaluated? What scores will you actually get? Why don't we just go through it? You've got, for each section, within our module, we have 1 or 2 sections per module. There's going to be homework and I don't know why I even have this line. This is silly. This whole line is silly. There. Each week you're going to have some homework. It'll be in my math lab for each section. And you will also have a video and text assignment in my math lab. So I just want to clarify what that is and talk a little bit about it. So this video and text assignment, this is a link to the digital copy of your text and also the videos that the author of the textbook made. Or more, actually, typically the author doesn't make those. They hire some other random person to do it. I've made those videos for other textbooks, and they can be hit or miss. These are pretty good. So what I've done is I've just listed all the videos and text and a link to the text for that section. So this is a supplement to go along with the videos that I make. If there's something that you weren't really clear on, you can look around through these example videos and you can find a little bit more details. Now, I don't expect you to watch every one of those videos. I don't expect you to read through the whole section. This is for your benefit. However, you do have to click on the assignment, and you do have to click through each of the things in there. Like if there are 5 videos in the textbook, you have to click each of those links. You can click it and just close out of it, but you need to click on those, or else it will be counted off. Okay, so make sure you're going through those and at least clicking the videos. Again, you don't have to watch them. I know it's kind of annoying, but this is the only mechanism I really have to make this available to you and give you something for it. You know, I used to have these as just an option. I had a little sidebar that says, click here to go see some other examples, and no one ever accessed them. And I started doing it like this as an assignment, and students were telling me, hey, I really, some students said, I really like those videos. So it'll add another minute or two to each of your homeworks, but it will give you will get credit just for clicking on those. So the video part, I know I'm really harping on this, but it's kind of an important point. You do have to click on these. You don't have to watch every bit of those. Okay. You do have to do the homework. Next up, you've got your tests, and I've already walked through those. We already looked through the test sheet. You've got 3 total tests. 2 of them are just regular tests, and then that comprehensive final. And again, those are all in my math lab. Let me skip this down here. And finally, quizzes and other activities. I don't have quizzes for every unit. I did at one point, but students said it was too much, so I removed them. Last semester, I had a lot of students come to me and say, we want some more assignments, so I added some back in. So we've got some quizzes, not every week. They're kind of sporadic in there. Other stuff, other activities, I haven't done this in a while. I will occasionally talk to you, but typically not for a grade. I've done kind of like oral assignments before. We most likely will not do that. And I've got some ideas for some small projects, but that's kind of tentative. But I just wanted to list it in case it does come up. And I'll let you know. I'll give you some heads up on those things. Anything else? Yeah, let me talk just a little bit more about the homework. I know I've been rambling for a while, but you can just pause the video, go relax for a while, come back, and start it again. Okay. Where was I? So the homeworks. My homework assignments are very short. Normally, 6 to 10 questions. In most of the courses I've taught that used an online system like that, there have been a lot more problems. But I don't want you to be overburdened. So this is the minimum minimum number of problems to see all of these concepts. If you want to master them, what you need to do is probably rework these problems. So anytime you work a problem, you can click show me a similar problem, and it will give you a new example with different numbers. Rather than me posting 30 or 40 questions and forcing you to do that, if there's something you've got a really good, comfortable grasp on, you can just move on. If you know you need more help, just do similar problem. There's also a study plan that will show you some non-graded problems, which is another way to review, and the textbook itself. But I just wanted to say the homework problems, the homework sets are very short. But if you find that you're having trouble keeping up with it or grasping the concept, you're going to need to rework those problems a few times. Okay. Now on to the grade breakdown. You've got your 2 tests. Each of them are worth 20%. Your homeworks are worth 15%, and any quizzes or activities are 5%. Okay. And then the final exam is worth a lot. It's worth 2 normal tests. If you prefer to see it, I've also got it broken down in a point system. This one can be nice. You can figure out how many points you have at any given time and how you're doing in the class. Now, my math lab may display this a little strangely. And if we've only, this is a new thing for me, listing the point values here. My math lab might not display these points perfectly. So if we've only done like 2 homework assignments and it's saying you have 150 points, it's weighting it incorrectly. So these are the point values overall. I'll try to make my math lab display it just the way so it lines up with this exactly. You may have to work with me, it may take a minute to get that displayed nicely, and it may not. My math lab has some issues with displaying grades, and so does Blackboard. One way or the other, I'd like to do it so you can see, you can just keep track of how many points you have throughout the semester. Other stuff. I use a 10-point grading scale, so 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89 is a B, etc. I'll also drop your 3 lowest homework assignments. So if you didn't do great on a couple of them, you can still recover from that. And finally, if it helps your score, I'll replace your lowest test score with your exam. I always like doing that. I feel like if you know it by the end of the course, it shouldn't matter if you had some trouble earlier on. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean procrastinating. Don't learn it till the final. There's always someone who tries to do it, and it's never pleasant. You can't just slack off and do poorly on one test and expect to make it up on the final. It typically doesn't work that way. Anyway, proctoring. This is very similar information to the other testing instructions document, but you can read through this. This I actually copied from their website. I want to say this is right. This may be slightly outdated, but this came from their website. I want to say last semester. I believe it's $10 to register to take an exam with them. If you don't give them enough time, yes, I'm not sure about these dates. They're saying 7 days for the fall and spring, and 5 days ahead of time in the summer. I don't know. I don't know how strict they are with these policies, but I have had students tell me that they try to sign up late and they got charged a lot more, or the proctor just says no. So make sure you schedule these things pretty early. You should be able to do it again as soon as you see this video. Okay, late assignments. Why did this restart? There we go. If there was if something happens, if you have some legitimate excuse, just email me and let me know. If it becomes an issue, if this is a frequent thing you're taking advantage of, I may ask you to go through the Student Ombudsman Services to verify your absence. I believe it's something you can do on just their website. You can submit that documentation, and I think it's Alfreda Horton. Someone over there will verify it. Let's see. If you don't have a good excuse, you can still work your homeworks for 50% credit. I don't have that option to do it with quizzes, but that's just a side effect. That's a My Math Lab thing. They don't, for whatever reason, I can give you partial credit for working your homework. It won't let me do it for quizzes or tests. I don't know. It's just it's a strange choice they made. But for your homework, I can give you half credit if you work it past the due date. And again, that's just if you didn't have a good excuse. You just slept in or slept in for a week. I don't know. Put it off too long. Otherwise, if you have a good excuse, just let me know. Test, if you miss a test, this is something we should take care of immediately. You'll have to, provide me your documentation, what have you, and we'll extend that due date. But this is not something we can do at the end of the semester, just because there isn't time. We do this, and then your final exam's Wednesday. I submit grades Wednesday night, so I don't have a lot of leeway there. Okay. Course objectives. Oh gosh. So I could talk about this stuff all day. I know you're probably trying to sit through this video and move on to the next thing. I spent a decent amount of time on this. I know all your instructors do. But I kind of just try to summarize everything we're going to do in this course. And it's not a long list. Trig is not really... It doesn't really span a broad area. There's not a whole lot to trig. We deal with triangles and then consequences of those triangles, of the relationships within those triangles. The other stuff is kind of applications. And I'll walk through just kind of quickly and talk about these things. So the first thing is some intimate knowledge about the relationships between the three sides and the three angles in a right triangle. So the idea here is in any given triangle, I should have created a great visual aid for this. These things are just intimately related. If you know two angles, the third angle is related to that. You can find them really easily. They have to sum to 180. If you know one of the sides in one of the angles, that's enough to find the rest. If you know two of the angles in one of the sides. There's just a fixed relationship between these things. Lots of geometric objects have these fixed relationships, like a circle. We're going to talk about circles a lot in here too, because they're kind of related to triangles. The circumference of a circle is related to the diameter, right? Pi times the diameter gives you the circumference. It's a fixed relationship. It doesn't matter how big your circle is. As the circle gets bigger, the diameter gets bigger, but also the circumference gets bigger, the distance around it, and it's always a fixed ratio. Triangles are the same way. If you take a triangle, I wonder if I can do this. If I keep all my angles the same and extend the length, this is hard to show, but if my fingers were longer here and I extended this side out, the angles all remain constant. The sides will be changing, but they'll be changing in a very specific way that we can keep track of easily. So we'll do a lot of just solving right triangles. So you'll have to know how these things relate to each other, and this is something you probably heard of, SOHCAHTOA. It's a famous relationship between an angle and the sides around it. And the reason we use that is to solve right triangles. So we'll do applications of these. You'll have problems that are just, here's an angle, here are two angles and a side, find the other angle on the other two sides of a triangle. Okay. So that's the majority of trig, knowing these relationships, knowing how to solve a right triangle. That's the first step to trig. The next step is knowing all of those relationships for these standard angles. So 0 is kind of a weird one. But for a 30-degree triangle, if I was to draw a triangle, and I will, even though we're going to have a hard time reading this on the screen. Oops. Yeah. Kind of impromptu triangle here. So this is a pretty standard triangle. A 30, 60, 90 triangle. Well, it's got angles of each of those. In one of your first sets of notes, we'll talk about 30, 60, 90 triangles, and also 45, 45, 90 triangles. But the relationship between these sides, if you know one of the sides, you can find all the rest really easily. Oh gosh, I'm not going to try to write this out here. I'll just save it. It should be in either my first or second module. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What else am I going to say? Sorry, I'm getting off topic because once I read these objectives, I really want to talk about all of them. Let's see. So once you've got a good understanding of right triangles, the next big step in trigonometry is taking those and putting them in the coordinate plane. I'm going to draw this out. So once we have a triangle, we can inscribe it in this coordinate plane. So that's a typical x, y. I'll write those out. That's your x-axis and that's your y-axis. Right, we're going to inscribe that in the plane, the x, y, the x-axis, the y-axis. We'll inscribe that in the plane and do a lot more stuff with it. That's what we use to do graphing. That's what we use to figure out trig values for things you couldn't necessarily make a triangle for. This is what allows us to extend trig, just where you can draw the triangles out, to all the other types of trig. You know, just the general trig functions of any value. That's also what allows us to graph these things. You know, once you've inscribed them in a plane, we talk about something called the unit circle, and we use that to graph these. But they're all intimately related to the triangles, right triangles, and the relationships between those. So once we've got the graphs, there are all kinds of things you can do about it. You can't see. I can kind of lay it out here. You can't really tell. Yeah, you can't see it. That's a poster someone in the our sound engineering department made for me. If you do anything like that, any kind of engineering, you'll do a lot of trig. But they have some really cool applications using these graphs of trig functions. So we had a lot of fun talking about that one day. Let's see. Trig identities, and I'm going to introduce some of those today, and in Module 1, I'll introduce some trig identities. These are ways of rewriting one trig function in terms of some other trig functions. Maybe just one, maybe a bunch of others. Once you've got those identities, you can do all kinds of cool stuff. So I've got an example for you. Cosine of x over 1 minus sine of x. You can play around with that, and really it's just one or two steps, and it gives you this thing. I didn't write it out, but this actually can go further. This can be simplified in a way that makes it really easy to do calculus with. If I was to try to take the derivative of this, or integrate it, which is a calculus thing, this would be very difficult, this first part. But the second part, much nicer, and if you took it one further step, then you could do this very simply. Okay, and then we'll do a little bit of stuff, the law of sines and cosines. This is the only time we talk about things that aren't right triangles. So a right triangle has a 90-degree angle. The law of sines, the law of cosines is for any triangle. So maybe you don't have a right triangle in there, or a right angle in there. It would actually still work if you had a right angle in there, but you don't have to have it. But that's not really the basis of most applications of trig. You use the law of sines and cosines. You can use them in some advanced physics classes, or even a regular physics class. Most things you can deal with right triangles. So, we will spend, speaking of physics, we're going to talk about vectors. We'll talk a little bit, a decent amount about vectors. I think we have a whole module dedicated to them. They're really easy, and if you've got some idea what they are going into physics, life is so much easier. Vector physics all sound very scary. Hopefully it can kind of put you at ease and let you see how simple that aspect of it is. Okay. And then finally we'll talk a little bit about linear speed and angular speed of something traveling in a circle. And I mentioned, we're going to talk about circles a lot. We'll inscribe triangles in the unit circle. And that allows us to deal with some things like linear speed and angular speed. Not hugely related, but for whatever reason gets talked about with trig a lot, so we'll cover those things. Alright, academic honesty. This is just something they told me to put in here. Typical, I mean, this should all be in your student handbook. Don't cheat. I don't know. I'm not going to read to you what cheating is. You can read through that. But yeah, this is a kind of new thing. Now, if something happens, and it's been a long time since I had someone try to cheat in this class, but you know, when it happens, you'll get an XF on your transcript, which is an F, but it has a little notice down at the bottom that this failure was due to cheating, academic misconduct. So not something you want to have on your transcript, so don't cheat. And then there is our Americans with Disabilities Act policy again. And all the contact information for Susie Haybear. I believe she's still the director over there. Okay. And then finally, this is the technology requirements, and this came to me from our online course office. I added this part. If you're having trouble with MyMathLab, you may want to try a different browser. I use Firefox, and I don't have any trouble. Internet Explorer also works well. Safari, you know, for an Apple, tends not to work. So that's one thing. That's the only thing I really want to specifically mention about technology. Is that you probably shouldn't use Safari. It's probably not going to work. I guess I will also say this. I'll try to give you PDFs of all my notes, but also sometimes Word documents and PowerPoint. Typically, I put either a Word document or a PowerPoint document along with the PDF. That way, you can edit it as you like. I don't know where they got these hardware configurations from. I don't know how. I guess your computer will most likely work. If it doesn't, I don't know. Get a new one. I don't know. I think this is more relevant for classes where they meet as a class. And we don't do that. You just watch my videos and then call me when you have trouble. So that is it for this. Ooh. I don't want to close that out. Let me see what else I got to talk about. So we've gone through the syllabus and other course documents. Now we can go to the coursework. No, just kidding. I'm going to click on the how-to guides. Anything that you're having trouble with, there's a how-to guide about it. I made these how-to guides. The one that is probably interesting for you is the Getting Started with MyMathLab. There's a little flyer for how to do that if you're having trouble. And then some other ones. These came from either USM or from our Blackboard coordinator. So if you should have some questions about SOAR, there's a tutorial for that. But this is the one you would want for MyMathLab. If I haven't looked at this in a while, but I believe you just click on any of these MyMathLab links, and it will prompt you to set up an account or sign into your account. Okay. So let's go to coursework. The last thing. This is where you'll spend most of your time on this site. Where are they? Oh, I didn't make them available yet. So I'll turn on edit mode. Yeah, these should become available. I have to double check some things, but they should become available by the time you get this video. So I just turn it on. So this is the full view. You won't be able to see all these. You should just see Module 0, Module 1, and Module 2. So I'll click on Module 0. And you see I've got... So I've got the edit mode on, so it's showing me everything. I believe it's going to force you to view these in order, which is kind of annoying. It just hit them. Oh, that's because it's not visible yet. Okay. So if it doesn't show you all these, you've got the table of contents. You can see what's over here. But I encourage you to go through these things in order. Look and see what we're doing. So in Module 0, I kind of outlined what's going on this week. We've got this module where we review the syllabus in the general course. And then Module 1 covers these sections, Module 2 covers these sections. Then there will be this is a link to this video. Weird. Kind of self-referential here. Okay, some information on my math lab assignments you can click on, and then this link to the assignments themselves. So Module 0 doesn't have a lot in it, so I'm going to look at Module 1. And you'll see what a typical module will look like. So here we've got our goals and objectives are to download the notes, watch my videos, which are embedded right here, and then do the following assignments in my math and my Labs Plus. See, now I've got it wrong. I need to edit that. You know, I will edit it. I'll make you watch me edit it. My math lab. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, some other people on campus, even I teach some classes that use My Labs Plus, so they seem very similar, but they don't play well together. So make sure you're using My Math Lab for this. Okay, so there's the list of objectives for this and a list of assignments. You can download my notes, and I've got a Word document if you want to type and follow along, or a PDF if you just want to view it. PDF is more stable, but you can't edit it very easily. And then I've got, for each one of those sections, 2.1, 5.1, 2.4, I've got a short video. Wow, okay, so these are kind of longer videos. And then again, information on my math lab, and then a link to the assignments themselves. So now that we've gone through the module, let me click into my math lab and show you what this looks like. Now, at this point, the first time you click, you should be prompted to set up an account or sign into an account if you have one. And then it takes you to this list of all of the assignments for this week. So this week we're doing 2 modules. There's the first modules, 2.1 and 2.4. I mentioned 5.1, but there are no assignments for 5.1. 5.1 is just an introduction to some really important identities that can make life easier as we go along. And then the next module, 1.1 and 2.5. So you can see when you've got this pulled up, you can see the due date over on the left and the due time. I make everything due at midnight unless I tell you. These should take you to the assignment themselves. If there's a time limit, like for a test, that will show up. If you've taken multiple attempts, or you've taken all your attempts, it should show up. Homework has unlimited attempts, so it's not really relevant. And it will show you what score you've got. And you'll click on one of these. I'll click on the first homework. So you see not a lot of questions, 9 questions. Some of them have multiple parts. It's gonna give you this little statement that, hey, late submission penalty, there's a 50% deducted from questions completed after the due date. It says that no matter what. Our thing's not due till the 11th. It still says this. When it's actually past the due date, it'll be much more in your face. It'll be like, this is late. We're going to deduct 50% now. So don't let that scare you. Don't let this part scare you. Okay, and then you can click on one of these bad boys. Okay, so within a problem, it says find the exact values for sine of theta, cosine of theta, and tangent of theta. So you'll see my video how to do that. If you get stuck over here on the right, there's this question help. And help me solve this will walk you through that problem. That's what I strongly suggest you do. You can also view a video if there's one for this problem. You can view the textbook if you'd like. You could email me about it. If there is a video, that's a good thing to click on, because typically if there's a video linked to the problem, it will be a video that relates to that problem. Let me go back here. The other thing I wanted to show you, so that's the stuff you do for a grade, these 9 questions. It should tell you, it should give you a green check mark when you've done a problem. If you want to do some additional problems, you can go to your study plan, which is down here in the bottom left. Let me go back here. So there's your study plan link. And this will cover, this is based off of the entire course as a whole. You may have to play around to find the specific material you want to cover. So this is going to start in section 1.1. Can I take off recommend? Oh, I can go to all chapters. So if we're working on chapter 2.4, you could go into chapter 2, select 2.4, and you could say, well, I'm having trouble with significant digits, or I just don't know how to solve these right triangles. More likely you'd be, well, I'm going to look at some of these word problems, these applications. You can click that, and that will take you to some similar problems that aren't for a grade, but can be really useful if you're having trouble grasping this stuff. Okay. Start with the graded stuff. Later on, as the semester goes by, you can go through all these. They're well done. I get a lot of students who tell me they really like this, so that's what I'm telling you. Okay. I think that's it. So thank you for sticking with me through this incredibly long video. So you'll have Module 0, which is this, Module 1, and Module 2 to do before Sunday at midnight. If you have any questions, just let me know. Where is this thing? Oh, there it is. Alright, so thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you later. Or maybe not, if I can't figure out how to close this. Oh, there it is.